Good. Okay. So, in describing this event, I mentioned our identity settling in the heart and old familiar longings revealing their redemptive giftedness. And someone asked me to try to explain that a little bit. So the thing is, the original Latin meaning of the word redeem is to get back. And it has to do with restoring an original state to something that's been abridged, or with making it whole again. So by redemptive, I intended to suggest that the deep soul longings that have probably informed most of your life are intimations of the sublime and humbling exaltation that usually comes latter parts of this period we call sacred reconfiguration. But for some people, it can come anywhere along the way, either as glimpses or as a more steady state. It's not entirely predictable. And it's an exaltation because who we are and our souls is just inexpressibly more beautiful and more tender and more radiant than who we are in the limited way that we know ourselves normally. And Terry Patton has said, soul is the home we all know we came here to live in. And over the years, as this awakening progresses, we more and more embody those deep soul qualities, and we start to sound a little like Walt Whitman when he said, I am larger and better than I thought. I did not know I contained so much goodness. And Dr. Serene Jones, who is the provost of Union Theological Seminary, said, grace is more original than sin. And in rephrasing that, we might say grace is more foundational than separation. And this foundational grace is an expression of the evolutionary current that kind of just flows through this whole realm. And by surrendering to it, we might say we are embracing, accepting, giving permission to whatever is arising, and letting our attention gently hold that, whatever it might be. And when we're saying this, we are taking a feminine tantric orientation to outgrowing our hypermasculinity. And when we say feminine, we're not talking about male or female. When we say this word, when we say feminine, we mean everything in all human experience, which is dark, hidden, mysterious, instinctual, intuitive, uncivilized, and beyond rational control. And this approach of embracing whatever is arising normally results in a kind of easeful and gradual shifts into some deeper or wider state of development. But, as sometimes happens, the goddess is coming for you, and it will get fierce, and you'll be stretched beyond your imaginings, and you'll wonder if you can take it. And I wondered the same thing, and my experience tells me you can take it. Even when you feel like Mark Wahlberg in the movie The Perfect Storm, I'm not sure if anyone saw that, but after he has gone overboard from the fishing boat in the middle of the Atlantic at night in a Category 5 hurricane with 100-foot waves. That kind of describes it, doesn't it? And if at some point you have been in those kind of dire straits, nothing is wrong. This is deep, serious spiritual work, and it can have times of profound challenge. And so please remember that what one or maybe more of your teachers may have said to you, that there could come a time when a lot might be demanded of you. But please don't be dissuaded by your reluctance or your fear or anguish even. I too have felt all of these and have learned from the dark, mysterious times and been taken to a deeper level of the real. And this actually, the truth is, this doesn't have to just be negative, afflictive experiences to be a challenging one. I can tell you that during the first 8 or 9 years of my involvement in this work, I frequently found myself in what felt like a kind of detonation to smithereens by what I can only call astonishing and heartbreaking open intensities of love. And it felt like a kind of ravishment that came over me and obliterated all my rationality and my competence and my articulation. And I'd have a lump in my throat and tears in my eyes and this burning fire of adoration that didn't seem to have a particular object. And the experience of those early years has led me to look into this, and I found many references to this phenomenon. You probably all heard of the Sacred Heart. The Sacred Heart is a pretty well-known icon or image, and it's typically depicted with a background of light radiating out from it, symbolizing the powerfully transmissive quality of its effect on the world. Then it also has this wreath of thorns, which suggests the immense tenderness and easily pierced quality of this heart. And then lastly, there's flames pouring out at the top, which indicate that sensation of burning that often accompanies this depth of heart realization. Yeah, in those early years, I also came across a painting, a medieval painting of, this was supposed to be depicting St. Augustine in his monk's cell, sitting there with and writing, and in front of him was a sort of a three-headed image, which was supposed to be symbolic of the Trinity. But the thing that struck me was there were 3 arrows about 4 feet long hanging out of his chest. And that implied to me, or spoke to me, about how this Sacred Heart realization feels a lot of the time. Daniel Odier, a contemporary tantric teacher, has called this the burning fire of love that is the consciousness of the unity of all things. And early Christian mystics, particularly a woman named Hildegard of Bingen, have referred to it as viriditas, the green fire, which is vital and fecund and lush. And Andrew Harvey has called this viriditas the outstreaming of the Sacred Heart, but also the secret life-sustaining energy of the body, now made alive and vivid and ecstatic and above all conscious. So there is a field of love that exists beyond the limits of doubt and mistrust and skepticism and irony, and which awaits discovery. And once it's met or touched, it continually beckons us back to yield to its mystery and its depth. And this yielding is through softening, opening, letting go of our habitual contraction. And this haunting call to love that we sometimes only hear faintly is a call that has informed all of our soul's journeys through this life. And in key moments, may have inspired us to open to that next step of greater freedom. Now, when people speak about heart, someone made reference to it earlier, what they usually mean is affections and emotions. But on the spiritual journey, particularly one as heart-centered as this, um, it means something much deeper. In our work, heart is the seat of consciousness in the body. In particular, the sinoatrial node in the heart. And it's the principal core of our being. It's the source condition of the experience of our lives. The heart is the place where the immensity of transcendence and the glory of immanence consummate their sacred marriage. Yeah. Heart is where we become divinely human. Yeah.